fire versus lean fire. What kind of life do you want to live during retirement? Did you know that there were types of fire? But before going into that, I want you to think again about the first question. I want you to close your eyes and imagine a life where you are retired. Are you sitting on your front porch just sipping your coffee, letting time pass? Or are you on your private plane, headed to Dubai to get a fancy dinner? I'll be sharing with you the two types of fire. FIRE, if you didn't already know, stands for Financial Independence Retire Early. We'll be comparing two types of fire, fat fire and lean fire. There are more than just two types, but we'll be focusing on the extremities of fire for now. By the end of the video, you will know what they're all about and which you want to pursue. Welcome to Savvy, where we have lots of practical wisdom to share. Hey, don't forget to hit the like button below, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more advice here on Savvy. Today, I'll share with you fat fire and lean fire. Before we start, I want to address a common misconception about fire. Some people still view fire in a negative light. They think it's extreme and that people who are part of the fire movement are all minimalists who are cheap. This is a misconception. Not everyone who is part of the fire movement is a minimalist. Some people take that path in pursuing fire, while others take different courses. There isn't just a single path to follow in your journey to fire. There are multiple types of fire that you can pursue, so you know what direction you should follow. So let's get right into the two types. First, fat fire. Fat fire is for when you want fat pockets. If you wish for an upper middle class lifestyle, this is the fire you want to pursue. Your fat fire number depends on the kind of lifestyle you want. Do you want to live a life of luxury? Or do you want to live a life fit for a king? How rich are we talking about? Typically, the annual income is $100,000, meaning you would need $2.5 million invested if we are basing it on the 4% rule. If you want to know more about the 4% rule, then you can check that out on our other videos. If you want to pursue fat fire, this will probably take you longer to achieve financial independence. The journey might be longer, but you will earn much money at least. If you want to be able to spend around $100,000 or more in a year while on your retirement, and yes, I know that sounds like a lot, but come to think of it, if you consider inflation, the cost of living would be higher by then, and $100,000 wouldn't seem so crazy. If you aren't sure how much you need to work towards, you should think big. Not anything too crazy though. Maybe you could think of how much the highest you've spent in a year and use it as a starting point. I know it isn't easy to predict your spending, but I want to give you an idea so you can start on something. You could add maybe 20% higher than that since we got inflation, and then you will need to multiply that number by 25. That's basically what fat fire is all about. With fat fire, there's a lot more freedom and flexibility. This is because you have more cushion to fall on. It doesn't mean that you could spend $100,000 a year. You could be spending about 70 or 80 and save the rest. Or leave it in your investments for this to continue to grow. Once you reach old age, this will be a massive help to you when it comes to health-related expenses. What kind of life do you envision for yourself when you're retired? Please share it with us in the comments below. Second, lean fire. Totally different from fat fire, but not the entire opposite. Your financial independence number, or your FI number, is much less than if you were to follow fat fire. So what does it mean to pursue lean fire? This means you would have to save up to 25 times your yearly expenses to live on a lean budget. What do you mean by the lean budget, you ask? This means you will spend less than the average American, which is about $6,000 in a year. So for Lean Fire, you would be spending around $40,000 annually or less when in your retirement period. This means you would need to save and invest less than if you pursue Fat Fire. You could probably save and invest $1 million or less, like about $800,000, if you can live off $40,000 each year. So if you are considering pursuing Lean Fire, you have to ask yourself whether you can live off $40,000 or less in a year. Is this something you want? Is this a life that you would be comfortable living? Personally, I believe that anyone is capable of it. It's more about whether you want this lifestyle or if you're okay with it, since your expenses could decrease when retirement comes. You could already be off of your mortgage and not need to pay for housing anymore. Transportation costs could also come down since you won't be commuting or driving to work anymore by this time. So your expenses could decline, which means a lot more room to still spend on the things you want while still living off a lean budget. When you are older, you will probably also spend less on traveling. You could want to spend most of your time with your family, kids, or pets. Maybe you would also spend your time on your hobbies if it isn't too costly. Once you reach your 50s or 60s, the most significant expense you will have is probably health-related expenses, and it's just the reality of life. One tip I can give you is to max out your HSA. If you don't have one, then you should get one. I'd talk more about this in another video of ours on retirement accounts that you should check out to get more tips and strategies. So that's basically all you need to know about Fat Fire and Lean Fire. Now let's recap their pros and cons, shall we? For Fat Fire, let's point out the elephant in the room. You would need $2.5 million. That is a lot of money. It's much more challenging to save and invest that much. But it is possible. As for Standard Fire and Lean Fire, reaching financial independence is easier and quicker, especially when you start saving aggressively early on. This means working becomes an option much sooner too. The apparent con for Lean Fire is that you can only spend about $40,000 or less during your retirement period. Either way, whatever path you choose, whichever type of fire you choose, it's important to remind yourself that you need to enjoy the journey. The journey is what you'll look back on once you achieve your goals. And claim it! You will definitely achieve your goals. That's enough practical wisdom for today. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up below. We will be posting 4 to 5 videos per week, so click the subscribe button and the notification bell to be notified of our new videos weekly. Thanks for tuning in. See you in the next video.